Good morning, everyone. Here we are on a beautiful Saturday. It's nice and sunny outside. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We are truly blessed here in the United States and have a lot to be thankful for. So we're going to get into the final part 2 of this ShopSolarKit.com review. And as you can see, we're blasting up with some inverters. The sun is shining bright, and I got to talk a little bit louder because these things are pretty loud. But we're going to wrap this thing up. It is done with, over, in the past. It's a learning experience for me. I've taken a lot of lessons, learned a lot of things about it, and we're just going to move forward. Keep putting your nose to the grind, keep moving forward. That's how I roll, and you just can't let anything get you down. And make sure you learn and put in the old brain housing experiences and things that you come across. So hopefully you won't repeat them. But let's get into this. I'll cover a couple of my last emails. It was a long process, 50 plus emails over a month, and I'm not going to cover all of them. I'll touch base on a couple of them and get everybody up to speed as to where we're at now, and we'll go from there. We have a lot of other content I'd like to share on this channel besides solar, and I'd like to get on with some of that other stuff, some of the fun stuff. It was all fun, all enjoyable, a lot of headaches though, and a lot of redoing stuff and putting inverters up, tearing them down, but we'll have a couple tips at the end that I've learned from the experience, and hopefully you can take something away from that and have a little bit better experience with your solar install. So I'll check you out at the end. Alright, so here we are. Yes, it can be done with 3 inverters, according to ShopSolarKit.com. Now, I did reach out to Rich Solar during this whole process to find out whether or not I could do this, but I did not get a reply back from Rich Solar on my specific question on whether or not I could run 3 inverters in a 120 240 volt configuration. So here's the power connection and communication connection that they sent me. It was the same day, and I got to working on it. Brought up the infamous question that I asked back in my first video: what size is the breaker on the AC output side? The AC input said 40 amp. Yeah, you kind of figure in is going to be the same as out. Maybe, I don't know. Like I say, I just wanted to make sure all this stuff was installed properly, so I didn't have any issues with warranties, or I wanted to extend the longevity of the system as best I could. So after 6 days, I reached back out and was like, hey, what's going on with the breakers? And they did send me this diagram of how to hook these inverters up with the actual breaker size. And once I seen that, I thought, oh man, I'm going to run a whole house system on a 30 amp breaker. And that split phase loads were kind of the most important thing for me because some of the equipment I got around here. And with this system, I was thinking I was going to get at least a 50 amp breaker to put in there. Maybe I should have led with that, but I didn't, so I guess that's on me. So I just simply told them that it wasn't going to work for me, and I asked them if they would do a return on the inverters. And the senior tech guy, Ralph, jumped in and explained to me what was going on with the system as far as he has 40 amp. He says 40 amp on the 240 side, and again he asked about a 4th inverter to balance the system, and that was the killer for my electrician, and the advice that he gave me
was balancing the system. So I didn't have room for it. It was great. I wished I could have. I would have probably been a lot better off if I could have. It probably would have been a lot cheaper on me, but I simply just didn't have the room. It took me forever to create a space where I could get the three in it. And of course, I maxed out the space that I had, and it was what it was, and I couldn't do the fourth inverter. So I think in the end, that really hurt me, and I would have been better off if I could have added that in somehow. The next day, I reached back out to Ralph, and simply told him, the suggestion for another inverter is great. I just didn't have the wall room, and from what I had learned up to that time, adding that other inverter would have actually made it an approved installation through Rich Solar, and I still hadn't heard anything from Rich Solar up until this point. So with their initial recommendation not to install it, and then my electrician looking at it and saying, don't do it, I didn't want to do it. I just wish that they had suggested the fourth inverter when I initially bought it, because then I could have, maybe looked for another place in my house where I could have put four inverters, or at that time made the determination of just going to two bigger inverters. But I never got that information until after they had sold me this kit and all the extras that I added. So I simply asked them for three things, to keep a happy relationship. To exchange the three inverters for two inverters that will work in an approved installation by the manufacturer. I would pay the difference. I hooked it up. I wanted it to be an uninterrupted power source, split phase, balanced, and just capable of running more than 30 amps on 240. And then I wanted them to send me another diagram and show me how to hook this thing up, and I would supply the connectors at that time. And when I made this request, I can't complain. I guess I shouldn't be complaining that they did exactly what I asked them to do at this point, and they turned around and they sent me two more inverters, a couple extra 3-foot 2-aught wire gauge inverter cables, and some 15 amp fuses. They also sent me the diagrams for everything, and it cost me an additional $785.13. Plus, they also sent me shipping labels for returning the three inverters, as well as a full refund on those inverters. So in the end, what they did was what I asked them, nothing more, nothing less. So from my original purchase of the solar kit, I am not using the three combiner boxes, $900, and three of my 360 watt panels. So I lost 1,000 watts of solar array. Ended up rewiring the array, doing the conduit, pulled all the PV wire out of the conduit, added two more in my conduit, just barely squeaked through. To the frustration and worry of the whole thing, that's kind of how it ended up. So a couple things that I got for you here at the end. My dumb grunt tips for you today are: number one, always get specifications and manufacturers of products in the kits. 2, always plan for future expansion and never size to minimum requirements. 3, always send your power requirements to the vendor. And number 4, save all your receipts so you can return anything that doesn't fit.
So there you have it. In the end, I did ask them to exchange the inverters, and they did. I paid the extra for them, and at that point, I was just looking to get out of the relationship that I had with ShopSolarKits.com. But you know, looking back on it, you know, I just, my personal experience with them, I just would not, I would not go back to them for my future expansion. Now, I am going to do some other stuff. I went from 27 panels at about 9,000 watts, a little over 9,000 watts, to 8,000 watts. I have 3 panels out of the 27 that I'm currently not using. I am going to use those 3 panels and maybe one of the 3 combiner boxes that I'm not using anymore to put some power in a new chicken house we're going to build. My wife goes out every morning and opens the door, closes the door every evening. It's getting cold now. We have some electric waterers, some heated waterers. So we're going to use those 3 panels to put in a new chicken house, maybe put a self-operating door on it, and put a little bit of electric over there just to run the heated waterers that we have, so we don't have to deal with the freezing of the water. But all that's in the future. That's my plan, to figure out what I can do with that stuff. If anybody needs any combiner boxes, 6-stringers, let me know. I got some for cheap. So I thank you very much for watching. Thank all my subscribers. Share, see if we can grow this thing, and I'll see you on the next one. And remember, smile. God loves you.